Rhian, Wales's biggest rivalry, football rivalry, probably the reigning champions. You can see how many people are in here compared to the last couple of press conferences we have. How have preparations been for a huge game for Wales?
Yeah, I think as a Canadian next to the US, I can understand big rivalries, and I think we've been in a good place. We had a very a strong showing against France, where I think we really demonstrated moments of the game where we know we're pushing and improving, and we know that there's another opportunity here. So looking forward to, we know, a big match, but also a great opportunity to showcase the women's game and how far it's come.
What are you expecting from England? Obviously, reigning champions, hugely powerful side, but Wales did improve dramatically from the first game to the second game. I guess you're looking for more of the same.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like the last two opposition were not powerful and strong. We knew, and we've said from the beginning, that our group is one that was going to test us in every single way and push us and sort of highlight the areas that we need to improve as a team and push towards sort of more consistent performances. But England is a top team. We know that. They've got some fantastic players that I've coached, and I'm looking forward to seeing, and I'm looking forward to putting these incredible women out against them. The pressure is all on them. We know that. We know there's still a chance for us. We're aware of it. And when there's a chance, there's always an exciting element that we get to go towards and not be frightened of, because what do we have to fear? It's just an exciting opportunity.
I think outside of our Welsh kind of bubble, a lot of talk has been, why were Wales so happy to have lost 4-1? Obviously, you weren't happy to have lost 4-1, but trying to grow the game, trying to play catch-up compared to nations like England. A result against England or a big performance, what could that do for Welsh women's football?
Well, firstly, I don't think many people inside women's soccer didn't understand. We're here for the first time, and we're here to make an impact. And part of that is celebrating our firsts. So we got to celebrate Jess's goal twice. Thank you, VAR. And equally, all these moments, they're important to celebrate. And for those countries that are fortunate enough to have the size in the player pool to expect regularly to qualify for these events, they've forgotten what an achievement it is to be at the pinnacle of the game at these major events. And these women have fought so hard for so long, many of them, their whole careers, to have this opportunity. And I will not allow us to just feel like we're just here to just participate. So we will continue to celebrate. In England, of course, there's a storyline. I think everyone's here for a reason. First, for the women's game, but secondly, why wouldn't we go towards a rivalry? This will only benefit the women's game, and we're going to give them as much as possible, push them to the very end, and it is to the very end. We're in an incredibly close group. England will be forced to play a strong lineup because it is such a close group, and there's also a goal differential. So for my women, we get to show up and spoil the party, and that's a wonderful job to have.
Angharad, not your first time against England. Obviously, you've been in a campaign where it was pretty much Wales and England head-to-head. You know what it means to all the players, and Wales have grown into this tournament. Kind of tell us about the emotional side of building up for this, this massive game.
Yeah, there's no hiding behind the history of Wales versus England, whatever sport you're playing in. It's a rivalry match, and it's one that everyone wants to play in. And yeah, we're, as a group, as Rhian said, we've come on so much since the first game, and the second game was such a big improvement from us, and we're looking to step it up again in this game. But the pressure is all on England. They have to come out, they have to perform, they have to, they're expected to win this game. Within our group, we believe that we can upset a very top team, but we're preparing as normal, and we're ready for the fight tomorrow.
Diolch, thank you.
Thanks. Cheers. Hi, Rhian. Nice to see you in person, and nice to see you. Rhian, so I like to kind of before the game predict the starting lineup, and it's been quite tough to kind of try and predict yours. I was looking back the last 10 games, competitive games, and it hasn't actually been the same starting 11. Is there a reason behind that with regards to opposition, who's performing well, tactics? Can you just explain that, please?
Probably a bit of all of the above. I mean, we've talked a lot about it as a team, and part of our responsibility is to make sure every single player in the 23 feels like they're there for a reason. And it's only words if you're not backing that up with actions. We are at the very beginning of growing something pretty special in Wales. And to do that, we've got to be quite agile. You know, we're about to come up against a country with, 20 times our population. We've got to have something. And part of it is unpredictability. And the second part is we've got to believe. And I think these women, whatever combination we're working with, whatever starting lineup I have, I completely trust in. And I don't think there's been many games when I haven't used all 5 of my changes, because why would I not? There's a reason you bring a full roster, and if you're not using them, I question that.
And secondly, obviously you've been a top player, you've played in many major tournaments yourself. You look like you're really enjoying yourself as a manager. Which one do you prefer, player or manager?
Well, I can speak for my mother, who thought it couldn't get worse. And I said, imagine being the parents of the goalkeepers. I think that's what she's experiencing now. So she never did watch games, but now she doesn't even want to hear any of the news. It's a different pressure. What I love is that, you know, these women, they're incredible. And you do the best you can to help them feel as prepared as possible. And then you send them off, little ducklings, and then you do the best at halftime. But it's up to them, and they react and they adjust, and a lot of what you're seeing on the pitch is them just figuring out the situation. They can't hear us. You know, we usually use our voices and pretend you can hear us. But I find it's less stressful because I can't do anything anymore. But it is a weird feeling to know, like, you just got to hand that over, but also it's quite a nice responsibility.
No, brilliant. I just want to say I love listening to you. I think you speak great. So best of luck.
Thank you.
Shemai Pawb. And Angharad, obviously, it's a well-known fact that in 2003, the Federation gave the money to the men's team, and it was only so many years later that England women got to a final of a Euros. And that's important for people to understand that Cymru has been on their own journey, and what a journey it's been.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the history says enough, speaks volumes. I think, you know, as a group of players, we've done a lot of fighting over the years to try and make the environment and what we get given similar to the men. And we've done a lot of that ourselves over the last 5 to 10 years, and I think now we're in a much better place, and we have the backing of the FAW, the full backing from them, and as you can see, this journey for us has just been incredible, and there's still, you know, mountains for us to climb, but I think we're definitely on that journey now, and it's only up from here.
Rhian, you've talked this week a lot about growing and learning. What's the one thing tomorrow you're hoping your team will bring against England?
A freedom and a courage. We've talked about it all the time, and I love watching this team when they start to find their flow in these moments of the game, and I think that's what we want to see another time. I hope we've been very clear. Our fan base has been just incredible, and we're aware of it, and we're so grateful for it. And I think the very least that we can do is show up and give it again everything we've got, to thank them, because they're on the journey with us and they understand. They're here to celebrate something historic. Of course, we hope it's a win, but equally they are here and they cheer every moment. I think we saw that against France, so I think it's another wonderful opportunity for us to give a thank you to our fans by laying it all on the field.
Listen, if this is the last presser before a game, I just want to put on record that, you know, we've all enjoyed watching you on the pitch, but the group of women you've had every day, oh my God, I'm going to get emotional. Oh God, sorry. Mm-hmm. The group of women we've interviewed every day, sorry.
Oh, see, this is Will.
Sorry. It's been an honour, and I think everyone back home and here has just enjoyed listening to these brilliant women not just talk about Cymru, but their pride for each other and as a family. Yeah. Just sorry, I can't talk any more. A word from you two.
Yeah, I mean, it has been an emotional journey for everyone, and it's been a special one too. And from us to you too, it's like a massive thank you, because you've been on this journey with us. The fans, the media, everyone has really got behind us and supported us. And it's been an incredible journey. It's not over yet. We've got one big game to go, and like Rhian said, we will leave everything out on that field tomorrow. We'll give it our absolute all for all of you who have been on this journey with us, and for ourselves and our country, and to make them more proud.
One last question. Hello. One last question. I'll compose myself now. If you could tell yourself something at the beginning of the tournament that you know now, what would it be to each of you?
You go first. Go on.
Can I add first to the last question? I think this is such a reminder of the women's game, right? And I do think for the teams that are just coming up and that are just starting to really invest in the women's program, like don't get lulled into complacency. And I think England, they won it last time, and there's these big powerhouses in the game, and they continue to push the standards incredible. And then there's these smaller nations that are coming up who are making history and are there to make sure they show up for their countries. And it's a reminder that it is emotional, and it should be emotional. It should be continuously celebrated, that these are the tournaments where these women's names are finally being heard and spoken about. And that is a huge point of pride, and one that we now have done. And once you've done something, it's the next time and the next, which we're really excited about. And I think to answer your second question now, the biggest learnings I think for me are we work in 10-day blocks for FIFA windows. And this team is exceptional. I mean, their connection, we've talked about it before, and it comes from having to fight for everything. And now being in a place where they get to represent their country. But when we're together for a longer period, it's how I manage probably the time so that they are, again, I've spoken about making sure that they always have family time and time to connect with the people that are here on the journey with them. And it's how I break up that time together, because a month in a close quarters is always a bit, we're still talking, which is nice. Yeah, but that's my learning, my management, like how you handle these blocks of times, because, next time we're here for 6 games. This time we keep pushing it through, yeah.
Yeah, I think one thing I've learned is probably moments win or lose your games. And I think we've been so close to them moments that, looking at the game, it's 4-1 against France. It wasn't a 4-1 game if you watch the game. And I think those small margins are what we need to work towards as a group. And we're prepared to have those honest and hard conversations to make sure that we keep improving and keep moving in the right direction. And probably another thing I've learned is that Wales shows up, whether we're on the field or off the field or back in Wales or in Switzerland. Wales have been by far the best crowd that I've seen out in this Euros. The way that we sing the anthem is just, it's an emotional one for me, and to see everyone singing it and with the pride and passion that we do, it means a lot. So Wales have definitely showed up this tournament.
If we go Club Pildroid, Sky Sports, Sky News, and the Times, please. More on the back.
Rhian, I just want to ask about the goalkeeping situation, because one thing Liv, Safia and Poppy have all talked about is how weird it is that it's such a young group for a goalkeeper. So for you as a manager, how's it been working with that young group?
Brilliant. Again, three strong characters, and I think the good news for Wales is that we do have a group of young keepers that are going to have to learn to push each other for that number one spot, which is the situation you want. It's a tough one for them, and they've handled it very well, because obviously I made a change, but it will only serve them better in their club careers and in their international career to go towards that challenge and to push each other to be the very best they can be.
Just on squad selection, is everyone fit?
Everyone is fit.
Angharad, just for you,
Sorry, can I just add? Poppy actually got injured in our last training session, so we are going to be bringing in another third keeper to fill that spot. And Poppy Sauber has been here and been a phenomenal support for the goalkeeper union. So obviously this announcement will be coming, so I might as well just let you know. And it's a tough one to take.
Angharad, just building on what you said to Beth there, I heard Jess saying today that she got a message from a young father saying that a young boy wanted a Fishlock shirt. And, your players, you all want to win games, obviously, but to see young boys and now young girls wanting to emulate you, you're their heroes. Is that just another huge win in terms on top of everything you're doing now as players as well?
Yeah, we spoke before we came to this tournament, and we said that we have already won, regardless of what happens at this tournament. Wales has already won, and we've already taken huge strides forward. I think we've had, as Rhian spoke before, little wins at this tournament, and they're, Jess scoring her first goal, and, hopefully a result tomorrow night will be a next win. And, it's big for our nation being here, showing all the little girls and boys at home that we can be on the biggest stage, we can compete at the biggest stage, and we deserve to be here as a nation. And I think it's taking them small wins and making sure that we keep pushing and keep striving to be better. there, but also to acknowledge how far we've come over the last few years.
Well, final one for me. There are 10 of you in this squad who were involved in that 0-0 draw in Southampton 7 years ago. I know a long time has gone since then, but how much have you talked about that, and how much can you sort of take from that, despite it being such a long time since then?
Yeah, well, you don't forget when you get a result against England, that's for sure. So, yeah, we've spoken about it, and I think, a lot of time has gone on since then, and new players have come into the squad. We've got a nice mixture of younger players, more experienced players, and there's a really nice blend within the group. And I think, we're prepared for tomorrow. We've done all the preparation the last few days, and whatever England side that Serena decides to put out, we're ready, and we're ready for that.
Diolch both.
Hi both. I just wonder if I could speak to you first. I'm just wondering, obviously, look, you've been talking about, really open about the rivalry game and what it means. I'm just wondering, that means, I presume, how intense, how physically expecting it, and as a midfielder, how exciting is that, as a game itself?
Yeah, as I mentioned, these are the games you want to play in. I think as soon as this group got announced, we knew there were going to be 3 tough games, 3 very competitive games, and 3 games that, as a midfielder, you love to play in. And I think, this group has come very far in the last few games, and we're looking to step it up again against England. And I do think that, the rivalry, the history behind Wales-England, and whether it's football, rugby, whatever it may be, there's a rivalry there. And, we're ready for the fight tomorrow, and we'll be preparing the best we can in the next 24 hours to bring all of that.
Rhian, I'm just wondering how difficult England have been to prepare for, considering they put on a certain performance against France and then played a lot better against the Netherlands. How difficult is a Serena Wiegman team to prepare against?
Well, it's same as us, right? I do think first games are first games, and it doesn't matter which country you are. There's a nerve and expectation. They're the reigning champions, so that first game comes with extra pressure, as all their games do now, right? When you're at the top, it's a tough life. But yeah, I think Serena is an incredible coach. She's definitely someone that I've always watched and been so impressed with. I worked with her for a little bit, and I've worked with a lot of these players, and we know that there's a real quality. Whatever structure she comes with, whatever roster she chooses, we've got an amazing challenge ahead of us, which we don't shy away from, and we don't pretend it's not coming. But equally, again, an opportunity for us to push our standards and to give it everything we've got, and then let's see where we end up.
So much of the sort of coverage and the discussion about the game is about how Wales can contain and frustrate. This is a really good chance to show just how the other side of it isn't as well, how good this team is, and how it can not just give a good team a bloody nose, but also actually go out there and play good football.
Yeah, I think it would be detrimental to look past us, but that's their problem. I mean, we're preparing like we do every game. I've not let them talk about this England game until we were finished at the French game, and for me, I am Canadian, so I understand a grudge match with my neighbors in Canada, but equally for me this is another incredible challenge, and I can't pretend there's not history there. I have read a book, but I think for these women it's acknowledging it and not letting it get bigger than it needs to be. This is going to be, and I think we all can agree, what a wonderful opportunity for women's football to two nations, neighbors, to put on a display for our fan base.
Thank you very much.
Rob from Sky News.
Hi, good luck for tomorrow. Are there any weaknesses you think you can exploit in this England team?
Yeah.
You going to divulge them?
No. Yeah, there's weaknesses in every team, absolutely. And we've talked about them, and we have our own to cancel out, and they have their own to cancel out, so it should be a good game.
And Angharad, what sort of messages have you had from the fans, and what sort of sense have you had how they're enjoying the experience being at this first ever tournament to follow this team?
Yeah, well, they're loving it. I've seen so many videos, photos, and I've spoken about this before, but it's really hard when you're in the bubble. You don't really see so much from the outside. You're on the bus on the way to a game. You pass through a little bit of the fans, but they've been superb this whole journey. They've been our 12th person. they've cheered us on from the first minute to the last, and there's been so many special occasions when we've come out for the warm up, and they sing Amar Ohid, and it really gets us going. And they've been superb throughout, and I'm really excited to give them one last game tomorrow. Hopefully there'll be more after tomorrow, but to really give it everything we've got in this last group game that we have.
Okay. Thanks, Rob. We got 2 in the back and then 1 in the front. Then that's okay. Yeah, the time's there, Kit. If you want to pass the mic.
Hi, Angharad. I appreciate you want to win tomorrow or get a result tomorrow, first of all, for yourselves, and because you can still qualify. But can you just articulate, kind of, as a Welsh woman, what it might mean to knock England out tomorrow?
What it would mean, I think first and foremost we just concentrate on us delivering the game plan, getting the performance right, and the result hopefully come with that. I think as a Welsh woman, do you want to knock England out? Of course you do. It's in our blood, it's in our DNA, and the rivalry is, as I've mentioned, has always been there and always will be there. But you have to come back to the occasion, and this is just another game of football. It's a 90-minute game plus, and hopefully we can perform in a better way than we did against France and keep improving our performances, and hopefully the result comes with that.
Thank you.
Hi, question for Rhian. You mentioned earlier about sort of smaller teams and smaller nations and bigger nations forgetting what that experience and that journey is like. Do you think England are at risk of maybe forgetting that experience 4 years on from their first major trophy?
Yeah, maybe. They're a country that, they knocked me out of a home World Cup in 2015, and that was a moment in England, the women's game, and as you know, and since then they've really pushed on and set new standards, and I think the fan base and the media that covered them from the beginning recognized this is ascension that's really just changed the landscape. I remember Lotte Wubben-Moy's sort of call to school and to grassroots, and all this movement is very new, and it's incredible the growth that's happened in England, and we're aware of it and we're excited by it because this is sort of where we're at for Wales. But the women's game has had to accelerate at a rate that people don't recognize. The men's game has had this sort of steady rise. We've talked about the FAW sort of not funding the program. We all know about the ban. So the women's game is now coming on leaps and bounds, and I think it's just a call to remember that this is still a new game, and it's developing in front of our eyes, and the athleticism and the professionalism and the athletes, all of it is just mind-boggling, and it's exciting for the future.
Can I ask, for you in your development as a coach, coming up against someone like Serena, who obviously has had so much major tournament success, there's the battle on the pitch, so maybe kind of the touchline battle as well, and how valuable it is for you in your own growth and development.
Sorry, what?
Coming up against a coach like Serena, and what that experience is like for you.
Well, all of them, sort of. The coaches I'm coming up against in the Euros are top coaches. That's what's here. The men, the women that have been in the game and growing the game, they're all people I look up to. To be a coach is a tough job, and I love it, and I hope a lot of my players stay in the game. And I think they get to see me make mistakes, and they get to see us get it right. And I hope I'm always honest about that. And when I'm, working against or trying to figure out the opposition, I think they're forgiving of when I don't get it right. But equally, I think we work together to make sure we keep moving forward when those things do happen, and we just keep improving together. So she's the latest battle, but equally, I'll always be looking up to someone like Serena.
Nice one. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Just in the front and then the side here, that's okay.
Hi both. Question for Rhian. Emma Sanders from BBC. Nice to meet you. The messaging here has been quite obviously sort of pressures on England. It's sort of up to them to perform. I just wonder, are you trying to get into their heads a little bit? Is that a conscious, kind of thing to try and put pressure on them?
Well, if it works, getting in their heads, not conscious, that's fact, and I think that is the pressure of a big nation, right? They come with the expectations, what we just talked about, where they've won it now, right? So that is, and we celebrated a 4-1 loss. like, I'm just being realistic. We know that we can improve absolutely from that last game, but it's also one of these where the expectation from ourselves is we put in a performance we can be proud of. We make our moments count more than last game, and we minimize error. That's what we go into a game with. And, you know, England has a different expectation. That's what comes with success.
Hi, Tom Gary from The Guardian. Thanks for your time. Rhian, I just have one question. Following on a little bit from what Rob was asking about weaknesses, I'm wondering how much positivity you've taken from some of England's results so far this year, like losing in Belgium and drawing with the Portuguese. I appreciate they've also beaten Spain as well. But how much hope does that give you that actually they're not invincible?
Well, past games you look at always, but every 90-plus minute game is an experience in itself. So I think if you judge us on the Holland game, you wouldn't have expected the French game, and the same with England. We do look at past games, of course. We do our due diligence, but this is a whole new game. And, you know, Serena's very clearly sort of changed things with this team, and they're pushing on in a different way, and that's just where that team is at. So looking back in the past before sort of some of the personnel has changed as well for England is not helpful. Like, I don't think, for me, Southampton 7 years ago I hope it inspires them, but it's not part of my prep.